Welcome to Lindenwood University's Cooperating Teacher Online Orientation. As you complete this orientation, please follow the link to submit your name and information as verification that you've viewed this presentation. If at any time at all you have questions during the student teaching experience, please do not hesitate to reach out. Our contact information will be on the final slide. The Lindenwood Student Teaching Coordinators and the Lindenwood University Supervisors are happy to assist you and answer any questions that you may have. Thank you for agreeing to host a student teacher or a teacher candidate from Lindenwood University. We appreciate the commitment you've made to devote precious time, patience, and energy to those that are new to the field. As a practicing teacher, your expertise and knowledge is extremely valuable to us and to our program. Thank you for being a partner. You're an extremely important part of our program and an invaluable resource to our teacher candidate. Thank you for providing an outstanding role model to our teacher candidates during this critical experience. We'll briefly walk you through some of the frequently asked questions of the student teaching experience. More information is included in the Student Teaching Handbook, available to you in the Cooperating Teacher Resources Canvas shell. When should my teacher candidate start at the school? The teacher candidate should start on the date the same as any other teacher. We found it to be extremely beneficial for the teacher candidate to start prior to the student's first day of the semester. This gives him or her a chance to get to know you and become familiar with the expectations prior to the students starting school. Please invite them to any professional development days or workshops prior to the start of the semester if you're able. How long is the student teaching experience? The experience covers 16 weeks. Teacher candidates do not have to make up snow days. Please work with the university supervisor to determine a projected end date for the experience and communicate this to your teacher candidate. If the teacher candidate must take emergency absences, those dates will be made up at the end of the experience. Please consult with the university supervisor should that occur. Some of our candidates do have a 12-week, 4-week split for the K through 12 certifications, so you may host a candidate not for 16 weeks but for 12 weeks or for 4 weeks. In our first days together, what should we discuss? There's an excellent set of checklists included in the Student Teaching Handbook and the Co-Teaching handouts that cover the areas for discussion. Generally, we recommend that the initial days or meetings, the teacher candidate and cooperating teacher get to know each other on a personal level, exchange contact information, and just start to build a relationship. The cooperating teacher should give the teacher candidate resources such as textbooks and a copy of the curriculum. A tour of the school while introducing him or her to colleagues around the building is important at this time, as this practice identifies valuable resources available to the teacher candidate in the building and offers comfort as well. Teacher candidates are often quite nervous walking into new, unknown territory. What kind of forms do I need to complete with this experience? We try to keep your paperwork for this experience to a minimum. We ask that the cooperating teacher complete a cooperating teacher information form at the beginning of the experience. This gives us your most accurate information for contact and a location in which to mail your stipend at the end of the semester. We ask that you provide written feedback to the teacher candidate weekly. The teacher candidate will turn in all 16 hard copies of the weekly feedback form to the student teaching coordinator at the end of the experience. The university supervisor will review those forms each time he or she visits for an observation. The teacher candidate will be responsible for keeping copies of these documents in a student teaching notebook or binder that will be organized and available for review by the university supervisor. We ask that you complete a midterm evaluation on the teacher candidate. This means that In the middle of the experience, you will use the MEES Teacher Candidate Evaluation Tool or rubric and score the teacher candidate on each of the standards. The teacher candidate will turn in a copy of these scores and submit a professional goals plan to the student teaching coordinator around week 7 or 8. This midterm evaluation should be a tool that the teacher candidate and cooperating teacher use for talking points about what's going well, what needs some work, and what areas to focus on for improvement going forward, so that the final evaluation, or the summative, which is the same evaluation based on the Mosby teacher standards, reflects excellent scores. The final evaluation will be sent to the cooperating teacher through an email link, and the cooperating teacher will submit it electronically. The teacher candidate typically asks the cooperating teacher for a letter of recommendation at the culmination of the experience. If you're allowed to create a letter of recommendation for the teacher candidate, there's no special format you're required to use. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask the university supervisor assigned to you or the coordinator of student teaching. Will there be someone from the university that visits regularly and provides support for the host teacher or cooperating teacher and the teacher candidate? A university supervisor will provide at least 5 formal observations and a final evaluation for the teacher candidate. Any issues need to be openly discussed with the teacher candidate and the university supervisor before they become a problem. What other responsibilities does my teacher candidate have during his or her student teaching experience? The teacher candidate also will be working to complete seminar assignments and artifacts to support his or her MEES evaluations throughout the course of the semester. The teacher candidate is required to document all lesson plans co-taught or taught independently in the binder. He or she should create and implement at least one unit during the course of the semester and teach independently according to the timeline included in the student teaching handbook. The teacher candidate also will be required to attend this weekly seminar class. Out-of-region candidates will have the same requirements as all candidates, but will attend class in a different sense, online. If I have to be away or there is another teacher in the building that's ill, can the student teacher or teacher candidate serve as a substitute teacher for the day? Teacher candidates should not serve as a substitute unless there are absolutely no substitutes available. The cooperating teacher still maintains all responsibility for the students in his or her classroom. Please see the Student Teaching Handbook for more information about substitute teaching during the student teaching experience. The student teaching experience takes a dedicated, knowledgeable, and interactive team approach. The cooperating teacher, university supervisor, and student teaching coordinator surround the teacher candidate to provide modeling, guidance, and support throughout this experience. Communication must occur openly and frequently amongst all parties. One of the best suggestions to maintain open communication between the cooperating teacher and teacher candidate is to write in a shared notebook each day. At the end of the experience, all parties will get a chance to evaluate and be evaluated based on their performance. Teacher candidates evaluate the university supervisor, cooperating teacher, and the coordinator of student teaching via the seminar class. The cooperating teacher will evaluate the teacher candidate and the university supervisor. The university supervisor will evaluate the cooperating teacher and the teacher candidate. Please see a copy of the evaluations located in the appendix of the Student Teaching Handbook for more details. This information is used to make continuous improvements across the board. The cooperating teacher is asked to maintain a climate that allows teacher candidate to develop the skills necessary for success in teaching. Collaborate with the teacher candidate in order to reach decisions leading to the development of appropriate teaching strategies. Provide the teacher candidate with an overview of long-range plans for the classroom, samples of actual lesson plans, and explanations of the lesson planning process. Establish specific guidelines for the teacher candidate to follow in designing lessons, a time frame for review prior to implementation, and clarification of the amount of detail expected. Provide relevant experiences for the teacher candidate that include, but are not limited to, observations, classroom activities, teacher responsibilities, parent-teacher conferences, and professional meetings. Observe and critique the teacher candidate's performance on a frequent and continual basis. At least one written evaluation per week should be completed. Comments and suggestions derived from these evaluations should be discussed with your teacher candidate. Allow time for the teacher candidate to conference with the university supervisor immediately following each on-site observation. Recommend a final rating that reflects the teacher candidate's performance in comparison to a beginning teacher. Write a recommendation in narrative form that describes the teacher candidate's professional experiences and competencies. This recommendation is submitted to the university supervisor and given to the teacher candidate for use in his or her personal career pursuits. Provide the coordinator of student teaching with feedback regarding the student teaching experience and the teacher education program. And request assistance from the university supervisor and/or the coordinator of student teaching in situations warranting special assistance. Evaluations are a requirement of the student teaching experience. When teacher candidates are observed by their university supervisor or cooperating teachers, the teacher candidate is required to supply the observer with a pre-observation plan, an observation form or MEAS formative form, and a complete lesson plan. So for evaluations completed by the university supervisor from Lindenwood University, the teacher candidate should provide a completed pre-observation form, MEAS teacher candidate evaluation tool or rubric packet, and a completed lesson plan. The university supervisor will observe the teacher candidate teaching, either solo or co-teaching. They will have time to have a discussion in order for the university supervisor to provide feedback and help the teacher candidate reflect on the observed lesson. Then the teacher candidate will submit the form to the coordinator of student teaching at the end of the semester. Teacher candidates are required to keep copies of all of the formative evaluations completed by both university supervisors and cooperating teachers. When there are evaluations completed by the cooperating teacher should complete weekly feedback forms on the teacher candidate and also complete the MEAS teacher candidate formative evaluations using the tool or rubric provided. Those are done on an every other week type of basis in general. The reports then are shared and discussed with the teacher candidate after completion of the observation. And the teacher candidate submits all completed weekly feedback forms and MEAS teacher candidate evaluation rubric tool packet to the coordinator of student teaching at the end of the semester. These are counted for a grade. If possible, the teacher candidate is encouraged to make arrangements to be observed by a building administrator prior to the end. Here are some recommendations for a successful beginning to the student teaching experience. Have a desk space ready if possible with a place for supplies and such for the teacher candidate. It's also nice to have his or her name on the doorway or the desk. Makes them feel welcome in the space. Introduce him or her as a visiting teacher or a co-teacher, not as a student teacher. It's important that the students see the teacher candidate as an additional authority figure. You are not asked to completely let go of your class for the entire semester. Shared teaching benefits all students. Solo teaching time or independent teaching time, however, is good for all teacher candidates. When reflecting on the day, allow the teacher candidate to go first, then respond. It lessens the nervousness that the teacher candidates may have. Discuss expectations and what the upcoming group of students might look like prior to the start of the semester. Let the student teacher or teacher candidate observe in the first couple of days. Look at some of the co-teaching strategies such as one teach, one observe, and follow this format to get him or her acclimated. Keep open lines of communication at all times. Be honest with one another. Provide positive, constructive feedback. Offer a multitude of suggestions and provide opportunities to model for the teacher candidate. Allow them to ask questions. You could ask the questions in person or through the shared notebook. Teacher candidates are in survival mode. They typically are very focused on themselves. Please try to help them by focusing more on the students. This is one of the most noticeable benefits of implementing co-teaching strategies. More detailed information is available in the Student Teaching Handbook in the Cooperating Teacher Resources Canvas shell. Teacher candidates are learning. Thank you for providing a comfortable learning and teaching atmosphere for our candidate. Your feedback and suggestions are essential to the candidate's future career and your student's success. Thank you for opening your door to our candidate and sharing your extensive knowledge and expertise with another professional learner. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Please click on the link or scan the QR code to complete the questions that follow. This will verify that you've completed this required orientation module. Thank you.